Thanks for joining us today on the Big Blue Podcast. I'm Greg Stone, Provost at the Southeast Campus, and usually I am joined by our president, Dr. Lee Goodson. But sitting in today for Dr. Goodson is a real professional in broadcasting, and that's Nicole Bergen, who is our media relation manager. Nicole, thanks for sitting in.
Well, thank you for having me.
You have sat in for me before.
Yes, a couple of years ago.
But I don't think we've ever done this together. So I'm excited to learn from a media professional.
Pressure.
The pressure, right?
The pressure.
Well, we're also joined today by Dr. Debbie Deibert.
Hello.
Dr. Deibert, the newly minted Dr. Deibert.
Very exciting.
It is very exciting, Debbie. Thanks for being here. We're here at the Center for Creativity. Just in full disclosure, Debbie and I were hired full-time faculty together, went through ATE together.
We did,
And
yes.
So I'm so happy for you that your doctoral work's completed, and really congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Very exciting. And we're here today to talk about the new promotion and rank process for faculty members, something else that's really exciting.
It's very exciting.
To full professor.
Yes.
Which is something the college has not had, and it's really great to think that we're going into year number 50.
Yes.
And in some ways we're marking it with another milestone, really. So, and you've been really instrumental in helping to lead a committee of faculty members who have been developing this promotion process to full professor. And while it might be obvious to some employees, particularly faculty members at the college, but for everybody listening, tell us why this is an important step, not just for the faculty members, but for the college as a whole.
Well, we have a new mission statement that we're building success through education. And I love that our mission statement doesn't specifically isolate students. Implied and obvious to our goals that is part of what we do. But in providing professional development and the opportunity for promotion, it's also giving faculty the opportunity to succeed through their own education. And so the institution supporting this new promotion process, I think, is a very public statement of supporting our mission, but also stating that faculty learning and growth and promotion is part of our overall mission as well. So it builds into our overall mission, and it gives faculty a great opportunity to demonstrate their expertise, their longevity at the college. So it's wonderful for the faculty, but I think it also builds into that overall culture of success that we're building as an institution.
And it's so great for students to see that their professors continue to learn and grow too, right?
And that we'll talk about, but there's a new aspect to the promotion process, and faculty are being very transparent with their students, what they're doing, and the students have been very supportive of that.
Do you have an example of that transparency where they share that with the class? Or?
So part of the new promotion process is conducting an action research project. And so they have been very transparent in letting the students know that they are learning through this process as well, and they're inviting the students into that learning process. And the students have been overwhelmingly supportive.
And we'll hear more about that in just a moment. But the college, as Dr. Stone said, has never before has had this rank of full professor for its faculty. 50 years, 49. Mm-hmm. Approximately how many faculty members will be eligible the first year for this promotion?
We have 41 eligible faculty members that can apply for promotion to full professor.
41.
These are associate professors
These are
who have
associate
who are
professors
and met the criteria,
that
right?
have been associate professors for at least 6 years, and most of them for 20 years since this is the first time. And so, yes, there are 41 eligible faculty members.
So, Debbie, talk to us about what that process is like for these 41 who are eligible to apply. Maybe not all of them will choose to apply, but hopefully many of them, if not all of them, will. What do they need to do in order to achieve the rank of professor moving from associate professor?
So what's really nice is what's being built into the college is this continuum of professional development from the point of hire to the point of promotion for associate professor, and now to the point of promotion to full professor, that we have annual portfolios that we build that contain certain items, our CV, our teaching philosophy, syllabi, professional development, all these things we do each year. And so after you've been hired at the 6-year point, you can apply for associate professor. And so there are similar items that you're asked to demonstrate for that promotion, but elevated. So there's a little bit more reflective statements, a little more information that's required. And now after having been an associate professor for 6 years, you can apply to the rank of full professor. So in the future, ideally someone who's hired at year 1, at year 12, they can apply for full professor if they've made associate professor at the 6-year mark. And so again, we're continuing that same expectation but elevating it for the full professor. So for every item that's submitted to the portfolio for promotion to full professor, there's a reflective statement. So there has to be some kind of explanation of what this is. And it continues on a similar idea of what is expected before. So we're not throwing huge curveballs of expectations. So a current CV, a teaching philosophy, but not just a teaching philosophy, an evolving teaching philosophy. And evidence of service to the college, evidence of professional development, feedback that supports student learning, and we ask that they demonstrate this in 3 ways: through student feedback, through peer feedback, and through institutional feedback. And so what they choose to demonstrate that with is up to them, but they have to have evidence of those 3 types. The 2 new pieces that we've not asked for before, one is evidence of collaboration with others in the institution. And so that can come in the form of mentoring new faculty, of supporting adjunct faculty, of working with students outside the classroom, of collaborating cross-college, cross-discipline, that the task force felt strongly that faculty members at this level should be leaders of their discipline, of the faculty, of teaching practice. And so we thought that sense of generativity, of giving back, of helping others needed to be a key component of that. And then the other big piece that was added for promotion to full professor is the Action Research Project.
Okay. I'm Nicole Bergen, Media Relations Manager at Tulsa Community College, here with my co-host for the day, since I'm filling in for President Lee Goodson. That's Dr. Greg Stone, Southeast Campus Provost, and you're listening to the Big Blue podcast. Our guest today is Dr. Debbie Deibert, Associate Professor of Child Development, West Campus, and we've been talking about the process that has been put in place to promote faculty to full professor. There is a long list of things that you have outlined. The key component, though, of this rank will be earned through conducting an action research project, which is what you alluded to before. Give us an overview of what that action research is and why it's important for this process, and then also how those faculty members are using the research in that learning environment or the classroom.
So research has never really been an expectation of faculty at TCC. Tulsa Community College certainly supports faculty that conduct research, and we do have faculty that conduct research. It's just not been something that is an expectation of the job. And so what's lovely is teaching and learning is what the focus of faculty, our duties here, and action research directly supports that. So as opposed to traditional research, which the researcher takes an objective, maybe even disconnected view of a question, a research topic, and looks to add to the general body of knowledge for that topic. Action research is a very personal endeavor for the faculty member. It is a faculty member conducting research to perfect their practice, to perfect what they do in the classroom. And so the question they generate is for themselves. They design an innovation or a change in their practice that they want to measure and see what the outcomes are if that does improve student learning or student outcomes. And then there's this reflective piece after they analyze that data of, did that work, did that not work, and what am I going to do next time? And I think most faculty members do this anyway. We'll introduce a new concept, we'll try a new teaching technique, and we'll walk away from it and say, that was the greatest thing ever, I'm doing that again and again. Or we may walk away and say, well, that didn't go as I planned, and I need to never do that again. And so this is just making it intentional, and it's documenting it, and it's basing it in best practice and a literature review. That it's not an idea of change that I just thought of one day walking into my office, that I've done some research and some background checking that this might be a great way to improve my student outcomes. And so there's this cycle nature to action research that you're always planning. You're doing the groundwork, looking for that literature review, then you do it. You implement it in your classroom. You analyze the data and you check, did that work the way I wanted it to? And it's important to note that when you analyze it, perfection is not what we're looking for. It's the next step where we do the action. It's the reflection on that and the planning of what I'm going to do next time that is really critical to improving the teaching practice. The other part that's important with that action piece is the dissemination of what you learned, that it's important to talk about it, that to share with others what you've learned through this process. And so dissemination may be a published paper or a presentation at a conference, but it might be that the most appropriate dissemination forum is talking with your fellow faculty members in a discipline meeting. And so each faculty member gets to determine themselves what the appropriate venue of disseminating that information is.
And it's so important that, like you said, the reflection is important. Your project might be, this is a terrible label, but a failure.
Exactly.
But that doesn't mean that you can't achieve your promotion because it didn't go exactly as planned. It's that you tried something and you learned from it, and what are you going to do as a result?
Exactly.
Before, right?
In fact, we even stated it that clearly in the frequently asked questions, that success of your measure is not really the measure of success of your project, because it will be the reflection, the change that you make and what you learned from that. And so for faculty that are asking to be or applying to be promoted to this rank of full professor, evidence of their intentional teaching practice, we thought the task force believed was really a great measure and a great way for them to demonstrate just how well they do what they do.
So before we get to the big question that we ask everybody,
Yes.
just quickly, I know you've been helping to lead some workshops
Yes.
for faculty members who are interested in applying. If someone's listening and they haven't participated yet, is it too late? Are there still workshops planned? How can they learn more about the work that needs to be done if they're going to get ready to make that application?
Okay, so over the summer we hosted 2 workshops, and those were identical. And really those were introducing the concept of action research to the faculty, what that entailed, the elements of action research, why each step was important. We had Dr. John Smythe from OSU come in and conduct the research or conduct the workshops. And so we laid a really good foundation of what is expected. The workshop we had in October made the assumption you've already started this project, that you have already begun the work. And so in October, we started with really just some technical discussions with the Academic Affairs Office of what the portfolio looks like, where you will upload information. And then we had task force members there that were able to ask questions about what do you mean by evolving teaching philosophy. And so we were able to have those conversations, but then with the action research, and we were able to give them a timeline that in October we're here. So in September, you should have already completed these things. Here's what you need to be focused on in October. Coming up in November, you should be expecting to be addressing these aspects of the project. And so the workshop in November will follow a similar format to what we did in October, but with the assumption that faculty members will be deeper into their projects, so the questions will be different. And so it will be adjusting that timeline of where you should be and what you should be thinking about for next steps. I would never discourage a faculty member from applying. I would say coming into this process right now would be playing catch up, but it would be an individual choice to decide whether to jump in at this point.
And then certainly there's always
next year. Right.
Yeah.
This is not the one.
Yearly,
exactly. So
And
this is
get started now.
for next year.
For next year, right.
Absolutely. That probably would be a really good idea.
So the big question,
Yes.
if you could go back in time and give your 18-year-old self a piece of advice before you started college, what would it be?
So I really could have used this advice at 18 because I really didn't learn it until my doctoral program that I just finished. But I know Dr. Stone understands this, and anyone that starts a big, long project like that, at the beginning it feels like it's never going to end, and you'll never be prepared for what's expected at the end. And so I started my doctoral program with those same fears, and in the first semester I was so enthralled and enchanted with what I was learning and the experiences I was having. I really put all of that off, and I focused on what was in front of me. So my advice to my 18-year-old self, rather than looking for the next graduation or the next job or the next, is to focus on what's in front of you, because the journey, that's what's going to take you on the journey and prepare you for whatever it is at the end. So stop looking down the road 3 years, focus what's in front of you.
That is great advice, which from Dr. Deibert. And you're exactly right. I mean, no matter what level you're at, some of that can just seem so overwhelming.
Yeah.
It's just about what's in front of you today.
Absolutely.
And we can all use that advice. So thank you for that, Debbie.
Oh,
and thanks
you're
for being
welcome.
here.
Thank you.
Our guest today has been Dr. Debbie Deibert, who's been leading so much of this work through the development of action research for faculty promotion to professor. So thanks again for being here. Nicole, thank you for sitting in today. And thank all of you for listening. Remember that you can catch the Big Blue podcast each week in the week at TCC and on the Creativity channel at YouTube. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.